Welcome, new listeners and returning listeners, to today's episode of the Black Business Roundtable. I am your host, Doug Blacksher, broadcasting to you live from the city of Diversity, Oakland, California, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. East Coast Time every Thursday. We must share our Women's History Month for love to Dr. Ashley Coleman, Doctor of Psychology, as we would not be where we are today without her. And as soon as time permits, we hope to see her back in the studio sharing her mental health love to us all. First time guest and audience, this is a dynamite young lady who's going to be the next city council person at large for the city of Oakland. Tonya Love is a 28-year-old Oakland resident living in Deep East Oakland, like me, Deep East Oakland. Currently serves as, now check this out, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Carroll, Fife, and she's 28 years old and Vice Chair of the Alameda County Democratic Party, which I am a member of. She does wonderful things. A young sister on the ball, understands politics at 28 years old, and how politics runs and governs our city, county, state, and federal government. I can't wait till she come on. It's going to be a dynamite show. Also, at large, Rebecca Kaplan will be not running, so she has a great opportunity, and I will be pushing for people to get out there and vote. Celebrating this month, courtesy of National Day Calendar, Women's History Month, National Breast Implant Awareness Month, National Women's History Month, Endometriosis Awareness Month, National Physicians Week. National Physicians Week set out March 25th to the 31st to honor the healers dedicated, and I do mean dedicated, to the art of medicine. In 2017, National Physicians Week highlighted the shortage of physicians in the United States against a growing landscape of minorities joining the ranks. So thank you, Dr. Ashley Coleman, Doctor of Psychology, Dr. Wheeler, and Dr. Newell Harris of California, and Dr. Banks of Ohio, who are MDs, all participants on the Black Business Roundtable, hashtag National Women's History Month, hashtag Breast Implant Awareness Month, hashtag Endometriosis Awareness Month, hashtag National Physicians Week, as listed below. A calendar note from Equal Justice Initiative. On March 28, 1958, a 22-year-old black man named Jeremiah Reeves was executed by the state of Alabama after police tortured him, and I mean tortured him, until he gave a false confession as a 16-year-old child. Tortured the boy. And this is just 1958. I was born in 1963. Oh my God. America, we still haven't come too far the way they're putting our young people in prison, some of them who didn't earn it, and that goes to the story of Carlton of North Carolina, which we talk about every show. To see the full story, click the link where you are watching this podcast, as listed below. Learn more about our history of racial injustice, both economically, politically, health-wise, home ownership, we appear to be at the bottom of every, and I do mean every list. And until we start getting out there like this young lady who's coming on today, who is a beacon for young people. And let me just be clear here, audience. I put people on this show who can be a beacon for other young people to get their butts up and get out there and get out there and make a difference in the community. And that's what it's all about. I'm 61 years old. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the people understand that we got to get involved politically, we got to get involved economically, and we got to start holding these big companies accountable and stop buying their products. Sorry about that, audience. I get on a tangent when I hear about some crazy stuff. Anyway, today on the BBRT, Black Business Roundtable podcast, Tonya Love, and I can't wait to share her with you. Tonya Love, currently serving as the Chief of Staff for Oakland City Council member, Honorable Carroll, Fife, who is a friend of the show, a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, with a degree in public health. Her platform includes homelessness and housing, city services, and public safety. And Oakland's going through a lot of public safety problems right now. Arts and culture, equitable economies and jobs. And that's what I fight for. So, thumbs up, dun, 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 dun. Thumbs down, dun, 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 dun. You can get it like we hit it. Feel free to send me your thumbs up or your thumbs down, and they may be featured on the show. Hit me on social media, either Instagram or Facebook. Thumbs up goes to those young people, like, once again, and I use her as an example. I did not know this young lady was 28. When I'm at the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, I'm constantly fighting some of those cliques down there that do not include people of color. And when I found out this sister was not only an active member, but an elected member, and now that because I never asked a woman her age. So you never asked a woman her age, but she gave us her age as she came on to the show today. So people like Tonya Love, people like Kevin Jenkins, people like Carroll Fife. We have a whole bunch of young people out there who are doing the things. And you OGs, you wise people, you people who don't want to pass the baton, start looking for a young person to train and teach so we can have more Tonya Loves out there running around making a difference in the community. Because if she is who I think she is, I'm going to be out there boxing with her. Left. So, thumbs down. Dun, 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 dun. Thumbs down goes to General Bullshit Trump and his $50 grift selling the good book, aka the Bible, with the Constitution. That man can't even read the Bible. It's a prop for him. Every time I see him, I go, I bet you $100 he couldn't read the first page in the Bible without stumbling. So it's shameful. It's shameful. With the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and more included, I guess the separation of church and state isn't a discussion here. I mean, how low will the general of bullshit go? To hell, apparently, as this perhaps is blasphemy. I'm talking about blasphemy, that he is even holding any Bible in the first place. When is the last time the orange man stepped into a church? Now you can, I would give him a lot of credit because he's been stepping in a lot of courthouses lately. He needs to be holding up some law books to help him. $100 million in legal fees. Unbelievable. And he's got 150 million followers, and the money that people sent him for his campaign, this man uses that to pay his bills. How stupid is America right now? So if that's not you, don't take it personal. But if it's you, kick yourself in the butt. So at the end of the day, stop with the grift and all your bullshit. Hashtag dump Trump. Now, let's get to the meat of the show. Let's get to the woman on the go. Our next city at large council person. Audience, let's welcome Tonya Love of hashtag Oakland as she runs for city council at large. Let's spend time learn. Ooh, there she go right there. I told you, knock them out, sister. Let's spend time learning about Tonya Love and the issues she cares about in Oakland, California. Girl, it's good to see you.
Thank you. How you doing, Doug?
I'm out here, before we get started on in, I'm going to say a couple of things. This will be our third year starting in May. Yes, we've been on 3 years, and on the last election, I supported 6 candidates and 5 won. So the point I'm making here is this year is a no holds bar for the Black Business Roundtable on blackusa.news. I'm going to be fighting for people like you, a young, powerful lady who knows her shit. I would say stuff, but shit, when I see you down there taking control with the majority of members down there are white, and you get out there with the best of them, you manage, you control. There was some in-house fighting, which you were able to resolve. I mean, we don't see that on the news lately. We see a lot of riffraff, except in February. In February, they want to talk about a few black people. But the rest of the 11 months, they want to show black people at the liquor store, black people hanging out with baggy pants, black people killing each other. They don't want to show doctors. They don't want to show lawyers. They don't want to show engineers. They don't want to show people like you who is getting into politics at 28. And I'll say this, and we're going to go right into it. If you see it, you can be it. And That's why you are on today. We're going to have more people be just like you.
So I want to clarify something really quick. I'm not 28. I am definitely older than 28. I've been in Oakland for 28 years. And
okay.
I've worked in Oakland for 28 years. I am older. I'm what you would call a elder millennial or a really, really young Generation X, but I'm in that kind of mix. So yeah, I'm not 28.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm 61, so you 28 to me.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
And like I said, seeing you out there on the floor and just seeing a black woman in charge, and I'm still learning politics. And you know who my mentor was.
Yes. She was actually my mentor, Pamela Price. She was the reason why I got involved in the Democratic Party. You remember during the when Trump was elected, we were having a holiday party, the Democratic Party, and she made a really strong call to action. She said there needs to be more black and brown members of the Democratic Party because, and from what I observed, the party was made up of really seasoned, some progressive, some more moderate, but mostly white people. And she wanted that to change. And she kind of felt that the reason Trump was able to be elected is because as a party, we did not do enough to ensure the black vote. And it was not surprising because many Black people don't trust this party for various reasons. And so she was the reason why I actually ran.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up because I started running with her in 2016 too. Mm-hmm. And they talked to her like a dog. And that happened one time. I got up and said, look, you don't talk to any of these white women. And I don't know if you were there when I did that. But I said, mm-hmm. You don't talk to any of these white women like that. And you will not talk to Pamela Price like that. She does not deserve it. This mm-hmm. is not the platform. There's no platform that you talk to, and I'm not going to sit here and stand for it. And let me tell you something. I shut that down day one, and she said, I want you to roll with me all the time. But it was shameful. The white people at the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, this is coming from me, all that, they were treating Black women like boo-boo the fool. And I every time it happened, I jumped up and I addressed it immediately because our Black women are the queens of this earth. I am so proud of you, Pamela Price, Carroll Fife, even Treva. Me and Treva had our bumping heads, but Treva Reed's, you know, we have got Black men. We have got to start treating our Black women like queens because if we treat them bad, we leave room for other people to treat them bad, and they do not deserve that. So, to that end, let's dive right into it. We have a few questions for our next council person at large, especially right now with the condition Oakland is in. Tell us about yourself. How did you come to live in and love Oakland? Now, I take myself off the screen every so often because I want the folks to get a full view of the next council member at large, and I got to stretch my legs.
I understand. So I actually came to the Bay Area in order to go to college. So like you had mentioned before, I graduated from UC Berkeley. I was the only person in my class when I lived in Portland at the time that got accepted into UC Berkeley. And so I spent 2 years living on campus until it became financially difficult for me to do so. So then I had moved into my half-brother's home in District 6 in the Melrose District. Since then, I've lived in several different areas of the city, North Oakland and by Ashby Bart. I lived in West Oakland on 32nd and Hannah Street. Then I got displaced and gentrified out of West Oakland, and I was a young student struggling. I moved into a shared bedroom and a one-bedroom studio in District 1 in Telegraph. And when I graduated, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in the Rose Garden District by the lake. And now I live in Deep East Oakland off of Durant Square. So I've lived all over the city. And during my time, during those years, it was Oakland residents that held me down during some of the toughest years of my life. And while I was having financial struggles, being displaced, or just life in general, it was my friends, my church family in North Oakland, and my fellow colleagues who held me down. I don't have traditional family members here, so it was Oakland that became my family and my home. This is the city where I grew up into adulthood, and I love it just because of that.
Well, we love having you here. And we're going to love having you change the landscape of this city. I have to be honest, I'm tired of these pimping politicians. They say one thing, and once they get in, they become liars and not doers, and they become part of the problem that has devastated Oakland. Oakland has never looked this bad. And let me tell you something. I'm going after some people big time this year. It's going to be a lot of open seats coming up because it's enough is enough. To that end, what made you get involved in politics directly?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I graduated in public health. I'm actually going on my third career, like a typical young person millennial, right? So I started off in molecular biology research at UCSF, working on the Brain Tumor Research Center, diagnosing brain tumors. I also worked in public health as a public health professional in Contra Costa, implementing healthy eating and active living interventions with young children aged 0 to 5. I worked with a group of parents, Black and Spanish-speaking Latinos, to actually look at the parks in Contra Costa and rate the good ones. But when we had some bad ones, we went to local government and asked for more funding to rebuild those parks. Over the 2 or 3 years I was part of that project, we raised $1.3 million from local governments to build parks and improve parks in Concord, Pittsburgh, and Midtown. That work got me really curious about what was happening in Oakland at the time. And it made me really curious about how government worked, who was in the elected office, why were they making the decisions that they made. So I then started actually taking it upon myself to go to city council meetings, to go to debates and events and just blog about it and share about it with everyone. I actually did that mainly through Twitter. At the time, it was like 2010. Twitter was just beginning. And Oakland had a hashtag called Oak Meeting, OAKMTG. And that's where I spent all of my time tweeting about, sharing everything that was happening. I went to city council meetings, local meetings, protests, everything. And I started to learn about local government and how it was running. I even held my own social media debate on Town Hall, on Twitter in 2013 when Libby Schaaf was elected here. I mean, you can actually Google it and find it on social media, and I can put the links on the chat. It's a pretty huge deal. But I decided I didn't want to work in Contra Costa anymore. I let social media know that I needed a job in Oakland so I can continue to do my hobby of getting involved in local politics and sharing it with everyone. I was able to get an opportunity to work for the assembly member, who is now our Attorney General, Rob Bonta. I worked for him for about 4 years. And then after that, during COVID time, Councilmember Fife asked me to help her run for city council. And I helped her win her seat, and now I serve with her chief of staff.
Whoa! If you work with Pamela Price and Carroll Fife, yeah, you're gonna win. I know they laced you with some game, girl. I'd work with both of them, and they don't play.
Right.
Because they're going after Carroll Fife right now. So just like they went after Pamela Price, I also endorse Shane Tao, Kevin Jenkins, Rebecca Kaplan. Unfortunately, she didn't win. Who else was it? But it was 6 candidates, and 5 out of the 6 won. And I want to make sure you are one of the next city council, because Blacks are leaving Oakland and Grove. And one of the things you said that I am very familiar with, equitable economies and jobs. And that's what the Black business is all about. We got some of these companies running their companies like plantations, billion-dollar company, treating their people like slaves, and specifically Black people. Next question. What has it been like? And this is what I'm interested in, because you are in the mix with all those people. What has it been like being vice chair of the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee? Because I was at the picnic that they had where I talked to some people about bringing young people in, and they was like, whoa. And then I came to you and I said, look, there's some young people who we should have here to get involved. And you said, of course. So what has it been like being vice chair of the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee and bringing it up to date with getting more young people involved? Thank you.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I originally joined because Pamela Price made that call to action that there needed to be more Black and brown people in the party. And I agreed with her. So for the most part, I've been really happy to be in the position that I am in. as a vice chair. That means I am sitting at the table when decisions are being made about the work that the party is doing. And I have been in the current chair's ear when it comes to some of the decisions that he is making. Now, as vice chair, I sit, I'm able to sit when he is not able to do his job. And our current chair, is a white guy. He does have a lot of power in the party to get things done, but he comes to me to seek my input on decisions that can be somewhat controversial or needs a different perspective. So like you said, there was some internal turmoil happening that involved, a black male and a trans gender person within the party. And I was able to help navigate that by actually lifting up the perspective of the black male in this sense. Because at that time, it was really from the perspective of the other person versus the black guy who needed defending. He needed to have a voice in that conversation. And with your help, Doug, I was able to lift that up and make whatever happened be less of a devastation to him than it would have been if I had not been there. So I'm really grateful to have that opportunity to be a voice where there usually is none, and making sure that we are all being heard and we're being treated fairly. And so that what you witnessed previously when people were yelling at Pamela Price, it won't happen while I'm there. And so I am also able to open the doors for other people to be a part of the party. We now have a really diversified central committee, whereas before it was definitely predominantly white. And so I'm really grateful for being a part of that class of people who are bringing more diversity and thought into the party and into our decisions.
Well, I got to be honest, I remember that issue.
Yeah.
And me being an older guy and a wiser guy, I had went to the chair and told him, this is shameful how you're treating this black man. Every time there's a problem, and she is part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I have a good rapport with them, Bobby Lopez and others, Alameda San Angelo City Councilmember. So I told Igor, you let this thing get out of control. And I don't appreciate you picking on this man, telling him he has to get off get off these committees. This was a young girl, 18 or 19 years old, who had positioned herself to go after black men. Now, this isn't the vice chair speaking, this is me. And so she tried to come after me. That's this between you and me. And I said, look, little girl, you don't want none of this smoke. And then that's what I went to. As soon as I had that happen, I went to Igor and said, Igor, there's a problem here. Now, I've been around the block 61 years. Mm-hmm. And from what I see, there was a misunderstanding that got out of control. And you're the chairperson, and you let it get out of control. And shame on you. So with your help, we were able to wrangle that back in. And one of the things that people who aren't black, and especially for the black man, first thing they said, I'm scared. The big black man scared me. And I'm going to point something out before we go to the next question. Mm-hmm. Kalima Pryforce, when he first came to the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee, 6'4", 260-pound black man with dreadlocks and a big stick. I looked around the room. The white women clenched their purse. And the white man, you could see him leaning over. And I can only imagine what they were saying. I got up, walked over to the brother, and gave him a big hug and shook his hand and said, man, I'm glad you participated. I said, we need more young men like you to be involved. And I said, you need to run for office. And guess what? He ran in Emeryville, California, and won his first time. And you can ask him about that story. But my goal is to get young people like you, like Kalima, like Carroll, mm-hmm. like Kevin Jenkins, et cetera, in place, in position to be, and I like what you said, sitting at the table and not on the menu. And we've been on the menu for 400 plus years. To that end, what has it been like working for Oakland City Councilwoman, the Honorable Carroll Fife? Thank you.
It has been amazing to work for a strong Black woman who shares similar values with me. On one hand, you have a lot of people who are progressive, they have democratic values, but it's not the same as working with someone that is like you, who has experienced the same things as you and has the similar values, where you can have almost kind of like conversations, saying things without even saying anything. You know, the look you give each other, like that kind of stuff. Having the same kind of sense of humor. It's been really a fortunate and blessing for me to be able to work with her, who is my friend, and also be able to bring others along. We work in an office full of women. Almost all of them are Black except for one. And it's just been really amazing to offer that opportunity to young Black women to be involved in politics, to work for the city when they're normally not there. It has also been a little eye-opening on actually who has the power to do things in terms of implementing programs and things that we want to see in the city. The impact that city staff and administration have on what's actually being done in the city is eye-opening. And the limited ability of the city council to actually force or even direct city staff has also been surprising to me. Not many people know that in the city code, there is actual legislation or a law that limits city council from directing staff. And many people have a perception of what city council can and cannot do. Many people believe that it's the job of the city council to go out in the middle of the street and fix a pothole or to fight crime for the city. What the council job is, though, is to pass laws and ordinance and also direct the budget to make sure that everything is fully funded so that city staff can do their job. And so there's definitely some things that are surprising to me that I didn't know, and things that I've learned, which I think will help me in my effort to actually become a council member and to do some of the things that residents would like to see happening in Oakland.
Audience, once Tonya Love is elected, we'll have 3 Black women on the Oakland, Oakland City Council, and 1 Black man. And it's just amazing to see that Black women all across this country are stepping up and stepping out and representing our city, our counties, our state, and our country. Because at the end of the day, Black women are the strongest segment of people in not just the United States, but in the world, because they had to endure more than any other group of people. So Tonya, you got my vote. I can't wait to say honorable Tonya Love.
Yes.
What are some of the things you have accomplished that have benefited Oakland residents? Thank you.
Yeah. So when I was working for Councilmember Bonta, I mainly worked in housing and in early education. So I worked on several initiatives that brought in revenue to build more affordable housing. I also worked on some initiatives to bring about rental tenant protections for those who are renters in Alameda and Oakland, particularly around just cause evictions. For those of you who don't know, that means those who are tenants can't be evicted without a good reason. I also worked on legislation with Councilmember Fife to make housing a human right. This was done before COVID, and so that work kind of got pushed to the side, but was working on her with that. I also worked on local measures to raise money for early childhood education in both Alameda County and Oakland. And I also advocated for local soda tax, which is not popular in the least, but it brought in millions of dollars to improve water access for students that are in schools like Fremont High School and McLean. And then under Councilmember Fife, when we were undergoing threat of inflation, our CPI increases were going to be as much as 6%. And so that meant that rents would be raised as much as 6% for those who are tenants in Oakland, which make up 60% of our population. I was able to help cap those rental increases, so it's at 3%. I also helped ensure a feasibility study for a library in the Hoover Durant area in West Oakland. And now I'm currently working on legislation to improve traffic safety for the city. Right now, Oakland has experienced over 36 traffic fatalities last year. So that means people who were just being pedestrians or walking were hit by a car and were killed. And so now I'm working on a project that will allow schools and senior centers and businesses to be able to implement traffic calming measures to slow down drivers and save lives and prevent also crime.
Well, let me just tell you this. I can't wait to be down there at City Council, running up the hill with the flag, helping you, the Honorable Carroll Fife, Kevin Jenkins, to pass legislation that's going to start addressing the many problems that plague this city. We have people who are sitting on the city council right now. I won't bring their names up now because I'm getting my data ready to go after many of these people who have not done anything. And if we don't start getting people like you who understands the infrastructure, the political process of legislation, because you can't get something to happen unless you can write legislation and get it passed in the city to make it happen. You know, you can talk a good game. And in many of these districts, and I'm not going to mention them because I'm trying to give everybody a chance, but I am going to mention the Hagenberger corridor. It looks like a third world country. In-N-Out Burger, gone. Black Bear Diner, gone. Denny's, gone. Starbucks, gone. People are getting robbed as soon as they get off the plane. Instead of renting cars, what they do now is they catch Uber because they are afraid that their vehicles are going to get broken into. So having somebody with your political knowledge, your understanding about writing legislation that you can take to the mayor, that you can get past the city council, with your efforts and your work with Carroll Fife and your vice chairmanship or chairperson, excuse my language, chairpersonship, and understanding that Alameda County Democratic Central Committee is part of the process of passing legislation, because we take this thing, and I can't wait until you come down and ask for our vote. I'm gonna stand up and dare anybody to go against you, because you are the type of seasoned person who's running for office in the city of Oakland that is needed, especially right now. Okay, why are you running for city council? Thank you.
Okay, so just like you listed, there's a lot happening in Oakland right now that's affecting residents in a way that hasn't been felt before, at least not during my time here. Since COVID, we have seen an increase in crime. We've seen more homeless on the streets. We've seen a slowdown on infrastructure work. We're seeing a lot more illegal dumping, and like you had mentioned, store closures. We've also seen an increase in bad news about Oakland being shared more often and repeatedly. And so Oakland, I feel like right now we have a lot of Oakland residents that are internalizing that bad news. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen in social media or other posts and words, people saying Oakland is the worst. Oakland, there's nothing but crime here. That Oakland is trash, saying that they hate it here and that they want to leave. And it really breaks my heart because Oakland is my home. It's also a place where residents in the past have had immense pride. No matter what is going on, we have experienced crime before. We have experienced poverty in parts of the city, but we have never really internalized negativity feelings about our city to a point where folks who were born and raised here are trying to leave. And I mean, since when do we let what's shared on the Chronicle, the San Francisco Chronicle, which has always treated Oakland like it's San Francisco's redheaded stepchild, when did we ever let what is being reported in the Chronicle make us feel bad? Since when do we let outsiders come to Oakland and rate our food establishments and talk bad about it, and then let us internalize those feelings? I'm telling you, Doug, I don't feel like that would have happened 10 years ago. So I want to get us to a point where Oakland loves Oakland again. So yes, that means being on the city council and ensuring that city services are being done equitably across the city and accomplishing the goals of what people would like to see the city done. But like Mayor Elihu Harris said on your last podcast, it takes all of us working together to get us to where we want to see Oakland. And so, yes, means doing what I can at the city council level, making sure there are adequate funds for city services, ensuring we have enough staff to fulfill those duties, and bringing in outside resources to maintain those work services, but also encouraging us to uplift our city, that we can work together to create change. Everybody has to care, and we all have to work together, just like Mayor Elihu Harris said. But I want to stand as an example of someone that's willing to not only doing the work, but to help create and encourage community pride and getting Oakland to love Oakland again.
Well, let me just tell you this. I'm going to tell you why a lot of stuff's not going on here in Oakland. I'm going to be brutally blunt. We got too much in-house fighting. The mayor fighting city council fighting each other. And it's shameful. The Titanic is sinking, and instead of the captain and the crew trying to save it, it's like they're trying to destroy it. Elihu, when I got, and he and I had a conversation both before and after the show, and I'm glad you referred to him. But one thing he said is true. We can have our indifferences, but we have to. Why were we elected? What is our responsibility? And I'm telling you, I'm tired of hearing all this bickering and I'm gonna get you, sucker. You know what? Let it keep going on. I'm gonna go out in front of city council and blast on each show. I'm gonna blast, but Oakland is almost out of gas for one big reason, and we're not together. We're not together. Our leaders in this city need to set aside their petty differences and start addressing the issues that are plaguing the city of Oakland and having it look like a bald-head stepchild to San Francisco, like you said. Bald-head, red stepchild.
Red-headed stepchild. That's what my cousins used to say. I want to actually tackle that. I was going to talk about it a little bit further. But one of the things that I feel will set me apart from other potential candidates is that as someone that has lived all over the city, I have a unique insight to what the different areas of the city are needing and asking for. But I also understand what the issues are that we all have in common. I have spent years of learning and gaining inside experience, and I know how to pass policies that work within the city of Oakland and at the state level. And because I've been involved so long, I know a lot of the players and elected officials. I have a relationship with all of the council members. And I know, last week, what you're saying right now is how do we get the city council to get along? I think in 2025, just like you mentioned, we're going to see a lot of new council members, potentially. But I know most of those who are potentially running as well. I know the mayor, and I work closely with current city staff members. And I am someone that is seen as generally nice, even keeled, and definitely positive. So pretty much everyone gets along with me. And so while I'll be representing the whole city, I also will be focusing on the east and west in the flatlands. I don't think we have people that really are listening to those who live in the flatlands and being out in the community and being amongst them. I live off of Durant, off of International. I see everything that the people who live in the flats are experiencing, and I'm willing to go anywhere and I'm just gonna hop on my bike, get on the bus. I'm willing to do all the things to actually reach those residents in the community who are most vulnerable and who are in most need of support at this time. One of the things that Councilmember Taylor in the past and some other council members have asked for is having a City Hall East. I think that would be amazing because there is City Hall in by downtown is really far for those who don't live that close. And being able to have something close by where they can connect with city council members would be super important. So that would also be something that I would love to see happening. But again, like you said, I'm someone that can get along with everyone, and I know what it takes to pass policies, and I, will help bring everyone together and help connect everyone. And so that way we can all work together to do what's best for residents. And that's something that is really important to me.
Excellent answer. Now, let me ask you this. What does an at-large city council office do?
So Oakland is divided into 7 different districts, and each one of those districts has a council member to represent them. As an at-large council member, I'll be focusing on the broader needs of the whole city. And so I'll be able to work on mainly bringing in resources to the city of Oakland and also working on policies that affect the whole city. While some council members, they have to do double duty. They'll have to answer phone calls, listen to constituents on their, very localized needs. I'll be looking on behalf of the whole city, working in partnership with the mayor and elected officials at the county, state, and federal level to bring in those resources to the city of Oakland.
Okay, well, I know you have another meeting. We have a few more questions, but what I'd like to do is have you come back and let's finish this conversation because I don't want to burn your time up and mess my. He said I came on his show and he wouldn't let me off. So, do you have opportunity for one more question, which I think is very important for this audience to understand? What sets you apart from other potential candidates? And then I'm going to let you go.
I think I answered that with the other question.
Okay.
What sets me apart is I've lived all over the city and have a unique insight to what the whole city is looking for. I also am someone that can get along with everyone and can unite the council. And then also I really want to focus on being present and visible in the flatlands and listening to the community members in the flatlands. I do have one thing to say. If you live in Oakland, on April 6th, I'm having a launch event at Arroyo Park in Deep East Oakland to talk about my campaign. I'm going to be atypical and not have a whole bunch of events in downtown Oakland. I'm going to be in the community with the community, talking to them about the issues. So April 6th at Arroyo Viejo from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I will be there and I'll be talking about my campaign. And I really hope that you all can attend. And yes, it's a bike riding event, so it's going to be fun. So please come out. The information is on my website. I will send a flyer also to Jack to share with his audience. I really hope you all can attend.
Tonya Love, it has been a great opportunity for the Black Business Roundtable on blackusa.news network to see another young person out there getting involved. We hope you come back. And you got my support. So you have a good next meeting. I'll talk to you then. God bless. Have a good day. Good night. Audience, as you heard it here today, we have another young Black person out there making a difference. We hope that you have a chance to visit her website and find out a little bit about her. If you live in Oakland, you can vote for her because she's at large. That means she's all over Oakland. If you're in the county and you know people who live in Oakland, have them check her out. If you live in the state of California and you know somebody or know people in Oakland, have them check her out. And if you live on the East Coast, Florida, New York, mid-states such as Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Louisiana, Arkansas, Atlanta, Georgia, and there's a lot of people who moved from here to Atlanta. Please have them check her out, and we need to have people who are being elected who know what's going on, who can help write legislation for the city of Oakland and get it passed. And as Ellie said last week, we got to start working together, because right now Oakland is like the Titanic. I'm mad at you, you mad at me, we mad at each other. So while you guys are mad, politicians, excuse my language, shit ain't getting taken care of here in Oakland. I want to also recognize CRC, Construction Resource Center, and on Hagenberger Corridor, who has a building down there, Lynn Turner. And let me tell you this, I have went down to his place of establishment, and it looks like a third world country, and that's shameful. That's shameful. How do you get people to fill your office space if they can't feel safe, have a clean environment? Count on the city to clean up down there. We already lost In-N-Out Burger. We already lost Black Bear Diner. We already lost Denny's. We already lost Starbucks. We already lost one of the few Black Philly cheese owned hoagie steak shops in the Bay Area. So let's stop losing and let's start winning. To that end, thank you to Mr. Donnie Glover for the honor of the Black Business Roundtable, being a part of your growing network dedicated to bringing the real unfiltered news before the news. Hashtag BlackUSA.news, hashtag Donnie Glover, space BeMoreNews.com, BlackUSA.news, DonnieGlover.com, Twitter.com/Donnie Glover. Continue sharing the hashtag Stand with Carlton of Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's NC. Hashtag Stand with Carlton of Raleigh, NC 2022. Young brother protecting his place in prison for shooting when threatened with bodily harm, along with his patron and his business establishment. And support hashtag Justice for Enzo, Husky in Lodi, dragged on the ground, tased, and the dog died in front of the community and the neighbors. Lodi, you ought to be shaming yourself. Animal advocate, hashtag Chris Kelly Foundation. However, if you can hashtag boycott Lodi, California, hashtag boycott Lodi, hashtag boycott Lodi wines. You have many choices for wine purchases other than the 80 plus wine makers in Lodi and Joaquin County area. The new series called Lodi, based on a true story in Lodi, California during the 70s, is starring Ewem McGregor, and that's hashtag Ewem McGregor, which we want to share. Filming in Lodi, you will be supporting Lodi Police due to needing security for any filming, and they took Enzo's life. See the chilling video of #LowDiePD along with animal control seen around the world. If you know anybody in Lodi, be sure to tell them do not buy Lodi wine. And if you know anybody in San Joaquin Valley, don't buy Lodi wine, because we're boycotting them for what they did to that family pet. If you want to be in the know and reach our audience, then join our BDRT advertising family, or to be a possible guest on the show. Reach us via our email, bbrt2021@hotmail.com. Include your company name, address, website, company phone number, and social media page info to our email, bbrt2021@hotmail.com for vetting consideration. Before I close out, I want to say one last thing. I want to throw a shout out to the Longshoremen, Local 10, President Trent Willis, and his members. We support you here on the Black Business Roundtable. We'd like to reach out to you and give us an update on some of the great things since you've been reelected to support and represent the members down there. Because at some of these companies, let me tell you something, these billion-dollar companies, they're pimping their workers. They run like slave plantations, billion-dollar businesses. And I'm going to start pointing them out, because they wouldn't be billion-dollar businesses if we would stop buying their product. Amazon and a couple of others, Walmart, Target. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you treat Black people like boo-boo the fool. To that end, audience, help us grow by sharing our podcast and filming us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and at 7 p.m. East Coast Time on the BlackUSA.News Network on YouTube and Facebook. Remember, together, we can listen, we can learn, and we can share, because I know you care. This is Doug Blacksher and Dr. Ashley, returning soon, of the Black Business Roundtable. God bless and good night.